Okay, welcome all of you. Today's session we will cover tuples and an enumerate function which is used for working with the sequences. It's a built-in function, and I thought I will talk about the problems that I gave you on yesterday as a homework. Since you had asked for some extra time, let us talk about it maybe in the next week class. Okay, so please go ahead and do it. And today also I'll give you some homework which you can work on, and I will open some. Maybe I will call it as an assignment in case if you maybe I think this is little involved. So let us call it as an assignment, and then we can evaluate also. Okay. So we were talking about list yesterday. Now we also touched upon tuple. It is pronounced as tuple or tuple. There are different ways, but you are free to use any one of them. But I like tuple, so I am going to call this as tuple. So this is, as I mentioned, it's ordered. Since it is ordered, it can be indexed, and it is immutable, like string. But it allows duplicate members. So where do we use it? Now suppose if you want to keep employee data which is to be preserved, maybe age may be changing, but maybe if you want to keep a joining date, joining time, what is the data, the name, the joining date, and maybe the salary, that is, information is not likely to be changing. So such immutable data items which are grouped together because they are related to each other, but they need not be the same type. That data type could be different. One could be a string, one could be an integer, and then age is integer, salary is float, address could be string. So we can keep multiple types of objects, but they are related, and we don't want that to be modified. That means it needs to be immutable. Then tuple is one way of keeping them in the data, okay, like a data structure, storing them. But though tuples are immutable, it can contain mutable objects. So what I mean by that, that list is mutable. What I keep in the list can be appended, and we can expand it, delete it, whatever we want we can do with a list, because it is a mutable object. Whereas tuple is immutable. Now, what if I keep two lists inside a tuple? Now, whether this individual list becomes immutable? No, the answer is no. But still, this tuple is immutable. Means you are not changing the content of the tuple, but what it is pointing at gets changed. Now, what I mean by that, suppose you know that in a tuple or any list or whatever, we are keeping only the references to the objects, right? So we are going to keep references to list. That address, the reference of that object address is going to be the same. We are not going to change this list and replace it with another list. No. Are we going to add a new list? No. Are we going to delete it? No. So the list object is going to be there, but what it contains, we can modify it. Still keeping the list object same, we can keep adding new elements to it or even delete the element, but we cannot remove the list object altogether from there. Maybe it will become a null list, but still it will hang around. So from that perspective, we are going to have two lists in this tuple, and both of them are pointing to the same list objects. They're different list object, but they are not going to be no removed or changed. No, we are not going to replace this with another list object. But whatever list object we have, we can modify the contents inside them. Okay, that is allowed. I hope this is clear to you. What I mean by tuples are immutable, but it can contain mutable objects in it. Okay, the list is a mutable object, but we can keep it inside a immutable uh, object like tuple. Okay, so in case if you don't understand or follow, please come online. So the mutable object in the tuple container can be changed. Okay, we can. It's not that since I am keeping it inside an immutable tuple, it doesn't mean that these lists become also mutable. No, they are immutable. They don't become immutable. We can still change them, but only thing is whatever is it's referring to, that object remains the same. We cannot add a new list to this, or we can't add any new element to the tuple, but it remains the same. Okay, what is inside the tuple remains the same. We can have a tuple of list. Though number of lists in the tuple cannot be changed, the lists themselves can be modified. So an example is, suppose I have created two lists with numbers like this, because list allows duplicate numbers, and then I keep it inside a list of tuple. Okay, a tuple containing list. I am keeping both L1 and L2 there. After that, I can still modify L1 and L2 with another element, which will become 4 1s and 4 2s, but still a tuple is not changed. Okay, there is nothing funny happening here. We are not changing the content of the tuple, but what it points to is getting changed. So essentially, a mutable object's value can be updated even when contained within an immutable container. Okay, so an object's mutability is determined by its type. So suppose if you have a tuple inside a tuple, then this becomes immutable. But if I have a string inside a tuple, yeah, but string type is immutable, so that is also immutable. But if I have a list inside, this is a mutable object, so I can change it. So that is what I mean by the last one. An object's mutability is determined by its type, whether it is mutable object or immutable object. For instance, numbers, strings, and tuples are immutable, while dictionaries and lists are mutable. But all of them can be inside a tuple. You can keep a dictionary inside, you can keep another list inside, or a tuple inside. Anything you can keep it, and we are not violating the rules of the tuple. I hope this is clear. Now, what are the other features that tuple supports? Tuple assignment. Values between a tuple and of a tuple of variables can be exchanged. So what I mean by that, suppose I keep different employee information, and these are all individual data elements. It could be a variable also. Right now we are showing it as a individual strings, but I can keep maybe name string, and then age or a date, whatever it is. So I can keep all of them, and then I can form a tuple object. So here what I am doing is I am grouping a set of objects and then forming a tuple here, and then assigning it to the label which is pointing at a tuple object. So this is a parenthesis for inside having some commas, and then if you assign it, it means that you are doing a tuple operation. Whereas if you are having a function and then you are having a comma b comma c, then it's a function call. Okay, so compiler can recognize still whether a tuple object is getting created or a function is getting called with a list of parameters. Okay, so it can still recognize it, because tuple will not have a label immediately following it, which happens to be a function label. Okay, function object. So it is still, even though parenthesis is used both for a function parameters as well as for forming a tuple, they are recognizable because the usage is different. So from the usage you will be able to find out whether a tuple is getting formed or a function call is being made. Now I can keep, suppose if I have a tuple object which I created it here, okay, I can unpack it. So this job is called unpacking. because you packed it with some list of objects. You can see that it's like a packing, okay, sealed packing. Okay, what you put inside, once for all you put it and then seal it. Okay, no, we cannot modify it inside. You cannot add more element, or you can change something pointing at, which is pointing to something, but you cannot add new element or delete element which is put inside a tuple. But you can take it out. I hope I am still alive. You guys can hear me. Oh, recording is off. Okay. Actually, don't worry. I have already started the recording here locally. Okay. So I will be sharing this only. Anyway, I have started. I think because some disconnection happened. There was an issue. There is some problem here today. Okay. I think now it is on. I hope so. Isn't it? Is it the recording is started? Oh, sorry, I not started this. I had to give this. Okay, it will ask multiple questions. One second. Don't worry about the recording. Anyway, I have a local recording done. Even if I get disconnected, even if I'm talking to myself, I will have the recording safe. Okay, fine. In case you lost me, someone has to call me. Otherwise, I will not know. Okay. Now let me continue with that. What is the time? 16. Okay. So if you are forming a tuple with a set of data, we are packing it into a tuple object. And if you are assigning it to different variables, then we are unpacking it. Okay, so we can unpack it and then assign it to different variables. Now, one thing has to be taken care here. You should know how many elements are there. Okay, what are the elements are there? You need to know the number of elements. Okay, there is no problem even if you don't know the type of those objects. Maybe you can say element 1, e2, e3, e4 also is fine, because we are not defining a type. So we are assigning some labels. It will be good if you know what type of items are there, maybe name followed by age followed by year and month. Then you will be able to give a meaningful name to those variables when you unpack it. Otherwise you will be having an issue to realize it. But otherwise you don't need to worry about the type, because anyway we are just assigning it to a label. We don't need to bother about the type of those objects. Now, what is this one? This is a tuple is getting assigned to another tuple, but the individual labels are different. Okay, and we are in fact we are forming a copy of a tuple. Okay, is this a deep copy or a shallow copy? It is actually a shallow copy, because we are just these references are copied here. Okay, but we are forming a new tuple. New two tuple objects are there. Okay, if I call it as t1 object, tuple t2, this is t2, t1, t2. So we are creating two tuple objects, but what they are referring to, they are all references to some other object. That references happen to be the same. Okay, so both of them will be referring to the same set of objects. Okay, but it is two instances of tuple objects will be created. That's all. So tuple as return values. Now this is the very important concept which is unique in our Python. So if you have a function, okay, you do something, and then if you want to return, you can return a comma b comma c. Now what happens is you have computed some a b c, and then you are returning multiple things. So if you know even in C also, what you can return is only one value. Okay, you cannot return multiple values from a C function. Okay, return, when you do, it returns one value. It could be a pointer, or it could be an integer or a float, or it could be a pointer to a structure. The structure will have multiple elements, but it's again a pointer to a structure. So that means one element only is coming out, one value only is coming out from a function. Now, how is the Python able to send us a list of, or not a list of, a tuple of values as a single return value? Here also, if you see as a final implementation, there is only one value coming out, which is that value tuple object. What is coming out is a tuple object. Okay, a reference to a tuple object. So before returning, the function is creating a tuple object, and then it can put any value it wants, and then sends a reference to a tuple object out. So it is guaranteed that whatever the function has put in is going to be preserved. Okay, but when you get it, the list object, whatever tuple object you get it, you will have all those values which have been put inside. Okay, suddenly you will not see that something is missing from there. The three elements are there, three elements will be there. So you can get it, and then the calling function can process it. So you can pass multiple values as a tuple object. Okay, you can, and then later on it can be unpacked on receiving it. So if you are forming a tuple object, it's called packing. If you are assigning to some different variables, it's called unpacking. Okay. Now these object names are valid. You can access it outside. Okay, these are assigned here. They are assigned here. Don't think that it is within the tuple object. You cannot use them. You can say print and this name. You can print the value. So these labels are visible and available, and then it is initialized when this unpacking happens. So that's one usage of a tuple. Now, what are the possible errors? Now, suppose if your tuple object is having only two elements, you cannot try to unpack it into three elements. So it will say that not enough values to unpack, because this should be matching. There is no type matching is required, because there is a dynamic language, but at least the number of elements what is there in tuple should match with the number of labels that you give for unpacking purpose. Otherwise, it will give you this following error. What about having less than what you have? That is also a problem. Too many values to unpack, but I have not given that many labels. Okay, so you cannot have less, you cannot have more. You need to have the same number of labels on this side, which is equal to the number of elements within the tuple. So they need to be matching. Okay. Now, one more beauty of tuple is it can perform some swap operation. That means I can have b comma a here and a comma b here. What will happen is b will go into a and a will go into b. So you can swap two values using the tuple usage. Okay, using tuple object. So any questions on whatever we have covered now? Okay, so let us try to write some code. So my tuple 1 comma 2 comma 3, then print. So this is fine. Now I said that I can keep some list objects inside them and then modify it. So let us see that L1 list 1 comma 1 comma 1. L2 is a list Now I can say tuple list of tuple with list. Okay, let me call it as tuple with list L1 comma L2. So print so maybe I should not keep I don't follow the capital to start with, so let us consistently do that. What is the problem? Okay, so we are getting it prints as a list inside. So now I can do L1 append one, L2 append 2, and then I can still print the tuple. So you can see that a tuple having a list can get modified and it's still no issues. You can still do something. And then now I want to unpack something num1, num2, num3, which I num tuple. Let me create a num tuple 1 comma 2 comma 3. Now then I can print num1 comma num2 comma num3. So you can get back, you can assign some variables from the tuple, you can take it. But if I reduce it, too many values to unpack. If I increase it, not enough values to unpack. Okay, so you need to make sure that it is same. So not another one, I can form another tuple, copy num tuple equal to num tuple. So it's a shallow copy. Print copy num tuple is same values you will get. And another thing maybe I can show you, it is same that I already shown. Now suppose I want to return multiple values, suppose. Okay, let us see that. Maybe I will introduce date time import date time. So you want to write a function def today equal to date time dot date dot today, print type today. Now return today dot day, today dot month, today dot year. Now what I do, today equal to today. Now, can someone tell me? Okay, let me print it. Oh no, if I should no, okay, I'm not. Um Now I just printed it. Okay, executed it. This type said that it's a date time dot date class. Okay, object of that type, this class. Now, can you tell me what will I get if I try to find the type of this today? Will it be same as this or different? And what it is? Anyone? What will be the type of today now? I am I there or I lost you guys?
Date.
Sorry? Date.
Yes.
Um, any other reply? Okay. Rupali is correct. It's a tuple. See, I am trying to send multiple elements individually. Okay. If I had sent just a return today, what you said was correct. It would have returned a object of type today, and I would have got the same thing. But I took the pain of individually accessing them, and it's like sending them individually and then packing it. Okay, packing it as a tuple. I did not send it as a date object. Okay, this is a date object, whatever date time dot date object. Um, if I had just said today, not the whole thing, if it was not there, only today was there, then I would have sent a date object. But now I split it into three elements, and then though I have not formally put a parenthesis around, it forms a tuple object there. Okay, I don't want to really put a parenthesis here, though I can do it, but I want you to get used to this, because normally when you see in the any code, it will be shown like this. So you should know when it is given like this, it is actually the whole thing is formed as a tuple object. Okay, so a tuple is created inside the object, inside the function, and the tuple object is passed out. So passed, which is coming out. So what you have is a tuple object now outside. Okay, now I can assign it. Okay, like what I did here, I can assign it to whatever variable I want. Today, day and time, month and year. As long as I know what is the order in which these values are coming and what they mean, then I will be able to get it. Okay, now let me print today. Now it will print it as tuple object. So whenever you are trying to print, you will see that additional parenthesis is put by the print function. We did not put it inside, we just said today, but it wants to tell you, okay, by putting a parenthesis around, saying that what you are seeing is a tuple object and I am printing the inside the values. So like it is showing you, if it is printing a list, it shows you that I am printing a list by putting a square bracket around. Similarly, when it prints a tuple, it puts a parenthesis around. Okay, so you remember this. Now, how do I initialize a null tuple? Okay, this is the null tuple, tuple with no values. Okay, print null tuple. This I thought maybe I'll show you. Now this null tuple, will it remain as a null tuple forever or not? Will this null tuple will remain as a null tuple forever? Okay, or not? Yes or no? Yes, you are right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you are right.
I look at
Sorry.
one doubt
Yeah, yeah.
on that screen, the code one. Here. on line number 45, if we call, if you want to call the today function, then will it allow to us on line number 45? Do you
Okay.
want the, do you want
Yeah.
to call the, yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Okay. Good. I got your question. I want to ask the same question to you or someone else, your classmates. Anybody can. Okay. Now I want to call a. Okay. Let me write a command. I want to call the function today in the next line. Okay. What do I do? Can someone write it on the chat window? I will use the same thing. Okay. Should I show the code? Very simple. I want to call the today function. How do I call? No. See, that's all. Very, very good. Very good. Vince and Dhyaneshwar are correct. That's all you need to do. So let us try whether they are correct or not. Oh, wait a minute.
sir, the today is overriding the definition of today.
Uh,
On the line number 42, we have used today as a today.
okay. I think. Wait a minute. What is happening? Let me see. Uh, I think you have a very valid doubt. Now, yes. Let us try this. Okay. Very interesting. By chance, I typed it like this. Type of today. Okay. It's very easy to find out. Okay. Can you guess what will be the type here and what will be the type here? 42, what will be the type? And in 44, what will be the type? One after the other. You can tell me. Yeah, function and tuple. You are right. So, who asked the question? Actually, you are really. I didn't. Dhyaneshwar, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good question, man. It's actually fooled us actually. Um, see, when you what happened here is maybe we will run it. Okay, whatever Swati says. Okay, we should not call it. So let me comment off first. Now let us see. Now you see before it, the today is which is the one this function, and then here it has become a date. This print, and then this is uh, wait a minute. I am printing too many things, so I have to now. Okay, let me qualify that.
Inside
Otherwise,
the function also. Inside the
uh,
function.
I'm sorry. One second. Okay,
Line number 39.
line number 49,
39, 39.
39.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy is confusing us. Okay, let me comment off this guy for a while. Thank you. I think that is confusing us. And then, okay, 1 and 2 at least we will know what is coming out. Okay. So function and tuple is correct, right? So see, from the Python perspective, today is a label. Now, it was actually a function object. Today was a function object here. And even before the assignment, today was a function object. So we could call the function successfully. But once this assignment is done, this today label is now pointing at a tuple object. So no longer the function today is the function is there, but we are not able to access it now. It has become, I don't think we can use it anymore, because that today function is no longer visible here after this. Okay, so nowhere you can do it. Even this print after 2, how come this is becoming yeah, this is again tuple only. It is a tuple is correct, so it will remain as a tuple only. It will never become an function type. Do you understand, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, very good point, thanks for bringing out. uh, I, even we got confused, I got confused, so good point. Okay, now what else I want to cover here? Okay, swap operation, right? So we said that it can swap it. So let us do one thing. L1, okay, I think we have the L1, L2 already ready. So L2 comma L1 equal to L1 comma L2. Now print L1 L2 is there or not? Do I have any print L1 L2? No. Okay, let me print it. Print L1, print L2. So let me print again. So what has happened? L1 was having one all ones and all two, and now it is all twos and all ones. So what has happened? This reference L1 has gone to L2, and L2 has gone to L1. Okay. Now,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah, go ahead.
Sir, while we are calling that function, if we change the variable name from today to today one, let's say, then we can call today function.
Uh, okay. Can you tell me how to do that? What you are saying here, 43. What you want to do? You can type it on your chat window. You are saying instead of this line,
So we
what?
can rewrite that line as today one equals to today function.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. If you
So
do
then
this,
after that we can call today function.
yeah, yeah. You are right. That's not a that's a very obvious thing. Okay, if you don't assign it to today, both variables are still alive. Today you can call it later on, and today one will be a tuple object. So the problem came because we did this, and I want to keep it like this only, so that we know that what happens, and you need to be careful, be cautious. Uh, we are we are losing the today function object. Okay, is it okay?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, you are right. If you are assigning it to some other variable, yeah, no issues, but we did not do that, and then what is the effect? Okay, so any questions on this? So I think enumerate I will cover quickly. Now enumerate is looping through the items of a sequence, is normally done with a range. Okay, normally we do a range 1 comma some 5, then inclusive and exclusive. Now colors, suppose if I have a colors list, then I want to go over them. I will do like this: for I in range length of colors, ln of colors, and then I print that many times. Okay, although this is not, this works, it is not most readable. Okay, we are keeping so many things here. Okay, now how do I use the enumerate? Now enumerate can be used when we need an index to loop through a sequence of items. So what I mean by that is, suppose I have a list of items, something, I want an index to be created for this sequence. Okay, index. I want to create an index. Here we are doing it with a range, and then length we get, and then we create an index by doing a for loop, right? I don't want to do all this jugglery, but without that I want to create an index. How do I do? That's what is the purpose of enumerate. Now, what does the enumerate do? It gives you list of tuple objects, okay? Sequence of tuple objects. If suppose there are n elements here, you will have n tuples coming out after the enumerate, okay? Each of the tuple will have an index value, maybe I will say 0, comma. If I call it as E1, E2, E3, suppose En, then maybe I will write it as 1, suppose, just for the discussion sake. 1, comma E1, 2, comma E2, this element is preserved and it is pairing it with the index of that particular element. Now suppose if I don't give it, it will be a 0, but I can also say which index I want to start with, okay? What index I want to start with. Suppose if I say I want to start the indexing of my elements in the sequence, this is a sequence, okay? It could be a list or whatever. It has a list of some sequence of elements. I want to enumerate them. I want to enumerate it by adding an index to each of the elements. So since this is an ordered sequence means ordered. So the indexing I can do it in the increasing order, whatever it is. But it will create a tuple with that, okay? So the association of an index along with the element remains immutable. So I will create a tuples which is matching or a pairing of an index with the element, index and an element. So it is pairing up these two, and then I can create what is the start index. From there onwards, it will be incrementing it. So if I say 100, then this will be 100, comma E1, 101, comma E2, like this it will go, okay, sequencing. So let us see with an example, then it will become much more clear. Okay, so I suppose if I create a default, it will create it with a 0, 0, 1, 2, 3 index, and I have a list with ABC, A, B, C, A. Then I will have tuple pairing with 0 and A, 1 with B, and 2 and C, and 3 and B. Okay, D. Okay, D is there. So, I don't know why. Oh, this is has to be shown like a animation. Otherwise, okay. I stole it from somewhere. Okay, I think this is the reference. You can get it from there. Okay, good that I thought there was an error. So, okay. So when I'm giving you a PDF, you may get confused. Okay, it will freeze the values. Fine. Now, what is the use? Enumerate returns an object of enumerate class. Okay, so it's a new. This is not a I cannot call it as a tuple object. Okay, tuple containing tuple. It is an enumerate object. Okay, enumerate object having a list of tuples, sequences of some tuples pairing up with the index and the element. Okay, so it will be only 2 elements will be there in each of the tuple, not more than that. Index and item, only 2 elements will be there. So enumerate object is iterable. You can go over it, but it can be iterated only once. So what is the this enumerate object, whatever you get, you can go over them, but only once. Okay, it's not like a multiple times. List you can go over multiple times, but enumerate object you can only go only once. Okay, you cannot again see that number of the elements. You cannot again read it. Okay, you have to do it from the beginning again. So it is iterable. This property helps to read large files without using up memory. So now, how does it help? Okay, when I say that it is only iterated once, and it helps you in reading up huge data. So suppose if you have huge data which is coming from the hard disk, okay, and then you want to process it stage by stage, then enumerate object, if you do, anyway, you will be going over it in the sequence, and then the elements, whatever is the data you will capture it in one tuple. And then once it is done, that enumerate object knows that no, we don't need to come back again, so it will keep on going, and it will not, the language or a compiler or a garbage collector will know that anyway you're not going to iterate it over, so it may, the whatever labels you have created, it may release those objects. Okay, the garbage collector may reclaim those labels which you are using for reading up a huge file. When you are going over it, it will free up the space that reserves for each of those tuple objects that it is reading from the file. So thereby you can keep reading a large files without becoming, consuming more memory. Okay, memory will not be consumed. The Python interpreter might free up all the used up referenced objects. It will free up. Okay, I don't know whether you understood what I'm saying. When you are reading a new huge file, you will be assigning it to some labels. Okay, label 1, label 2, label 3, and then you are iterating over, and you read this set, and then you are going to read a next set. Like this, if you do, these objects which they are referring to will be, will not be referenced again, because anyway you are reading up the enumerate object only once, you cannot read it back. So during that time when you don't reference back, these objects may be released. Okay, the garbage collector may release it, so huge files you can read it. Okay, maybe you can look for some examples of proving this particular line. This is what is an explanation that I can come up with. Now, third bullet, if you need to iterate again, the better option is to construct a list of tuples. Okay, then from the enumerate object, okay, enumerate object, okay, it has a tuples inside. You can construct a list of tuple. Okay, you can move them into a list, then you can iterate over multiple times. Okay, now how do you do it? Suppose colors, you have a string of colors, you are enumerating. Now you are getting an enumerate object. Now this you can construct as a list. Now what happened is this, what happens when you do a list object, this enum object will be unpacked. Okay, unpacked, enum object only will be unpacked, not the individual tuples inside. Okay, it has got a tuples. How many tuples it will have? As many number of colors here. Suppose there are 3 color objects here, then there will be maybe 0 comma some c1, 1 comma c2, 2 comma c3, and then when you come for construct a list, what will be there is just you can put a list here. So what will happen is this will be expanded or unpacked, and then the tuple objects will be moved into a list. Okay, create a list. So you can, sorry, you can try doing that. I don't know how much time we have. Oh, only 5 minutes. So what I will do, I will show you a working code rather than typing it now. That is better. Okay, just 5 minutes you give me, I will finish it up. We will explain see the code, and then we'll finish it. Colors, green. What you do, you can do a scan through the list by doing a for loop, which I mentioned that it is laborious and very painful. What you do is, okay, I am doing a odd and even colors. That's nothing to do with the our discussion. Now let us look at here. Okay, I am creating a enumerate. Okay, now enumerate is iterable. I said that it's similar to range, iterable. So when you construct a enumerate object with the colors, it will return a tuple. Okay, tuple with I and item. Okay, and you can iterate over. So that enumerate object itself has a feature, and then you can extract it out I and item and print it out. Okay, now enum object type, I am printing it. You can construct a list with that. Okay, so let me first run it, then we will understand each of the lines. So you form a link, then what you get here is print I and ITM. So 0 and red, 1 and green. So you are printing out. I hope this is the right one. No. Let me see. No, this is the print. Okay, this is the print which is coming out here. 0 red, 1 green. This is coming. And then you have enumerated the color. Okay. Type is class enumerate. Then enumerate object is printed. It will print like some funny character. And then I form a list with the enumerate object. This is list is formed with the enumerate object. These are all the enumerate values which you had. And then what is done where I am printing this? If I write, okay, comment one by one, if I do it only, it will be easy. Okay, I think we have reached the limit, time limit. You can easily understand it. I will tell you list enumerate is extracting it out, and then you can manipulate it. Okay, this whatever you get, you can manipulate it. You try to understand it, otherwise I will explain it later. Okay, let us not rush through it. We will, maybe I will see this in the next class. Okay, bye bye, see you.